happens at the end.
Well, that's true.
But the thing I skipped over actually to talk about that was the whole issue with the response of the police, the school resource officer, and the sheriff's deputy. I'll get into that as well. But the whole thing. Oh, and also they picked him up. I don't know if you've seen pictures of him when he was arrested, but there's no body armor found anywhere. It doesn't look particularly tired, sweaty, exhausted. If you know anything about Florida, in South Florida, even here it's hot. I think it was about 85 degrees and humid on that day. He doesn't look like somebody who just exerted himself very heavily, which you would tend to, your heart rate goes up, you sweat a lot if you're involved in a very high stress situation like that. Granted, you only have the pictures to go by, but it doesn't quite add up. So, yeah, that's kind of the basic. Those are the basic inconsistencies. Just the shooting, the 6 minutes of the shooting itself.
So the shooting takes place. What do you know? What have you looked into in terms of what actually happened on the inside? And again, we get the usual reports of multiple shooters and all that kind of stuff. And I attribute that. I remember way back when Anders Breivik did his thing in Norway. I remember that there was the same thing there. They were talking about multiple shooters and stuff. And later it came out that he had actually arrived in, I think, scuba gear, kind of like a, I don't know if you call it frog suit in English, like a frog suit. Yeah. And then he had taken that off at some point and then continued to walk around. So people had to perceive that they saw one guy in scuba gear and then one guy without that, and so they thought it was 2 people. I don't know if there's additional eyewitness beyond that, which I didn't catch, but I heard kind of a similar thing here, where people that thought there was multiple. Did you look into that?
Yeah, I hadn't seen any confirmation beyond a few tweets, that sort of thing. And I hadn't. Somebody had posted a video of a student talking about that, and his account got banned. So I haven't been able to track down that actual video, but there were apparently, and like you said, it's a common thing to happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean there were multiple shooters. We do get those eyewitness reports are notoriously unreliable. We hear things, people think they saw something. But that combined with the teacher who saw somebody, and she's not the only one else as well, at least another person who said they saw somebody in full tactical gear, it makes you wonder. I mean, who, you also, the people unreliable, you also tend to have things seared into your mind in a high stress situation. Like you have things that you saw, and there's kind of a duality of response there. But in a lot of cases, people remember those things exceptionally well because, it's like PTSD after the fact is kind of really imprinted on. So it's weird that we haven't heard much from the kids. We haven't heard much from the people who were actually there and saw it up close. We've only heard from the drama club kids. We can go to that whole thing. It's a gang of 4 or 5 now verified accounts who've been on TV 24/7 shooting. We haven't heard from much from the people who were actually shot or in the immediate vicinity.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I get the perception that they kind of have these days. There's so many of these happening so often that they would have the anti-gun lobby would have their actors in place, if you will, that basically when and if something like this happens, they can just immediately start using that narrative to their advantage, or start steering the narrative towards their advantage. So I get that, but at the same time, it's interesting how quickly it happened, and usually it takes a little time. But here it was like, this kid, David or Daniel Hogg, that was on it immediately, and the other lady, what was her name? Rosalind?
Emma Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. The PR machine rolled into high gear in an unprecedentedly fast amount of time. I mean, I don't think. I could be wrong. I can't think of another instance where anything happened that quickly, where you had, within a couple of days, Emma Gonzalez gave her speech, was carried, all over the place, talking about gun violence. And within a couple of days, they all had verified accounts. She now has 1 million followers. Hogg has 300,000. The other kid, Cameron Caskey, has some 200,000. And if you look at, these kids' social media history, some of them had different accounts before the shooting, but they were all very left wing. Like Kasky's old account had, the profile header was a big bold text and white supremacy. I don't know if that's been deleted now. You can find it may still be on Twitter if you search for Cameron Kasky. But his old account was like this, and Hogg has all sorts of tweets about anti-Trump and his history, and same with Gonzalez. So it's certainly amazing luck that they found these spokespeople to be these students people immediately afterwards. I mean, there was not a real gap, and especially when you look at it in contrast with Vegas. We can talk about that contrast too, but 3 times as